Wrestling humans, hello. I am here for another podcast, and I am here to talk about Penn State's dominance. Okay? Christian Piles had mentioned, and I knew it was ridiculous, but Christian Piles had mentioned 40 and a half bonus points for Penn State in this tournament. I went through the matches. They had 31 victories in this tournament, 27 matches they had bonus points out of 31 victories. And I find that to be absolutely fantastic and dominant. It is, that's the key. My father always spoke on how important bonus points are in a tournament, and it has come to fruition. And let me say, out of the top 4 teams in the tournament, Penn State, out of 27 and 31 matches, had 40 and a half bonus points. They had 17 tech falls as a team, 4 falls, 5 major decisions, and 1 injury default. That's what got them all those points. 17 tech falls. 17 tech falls. Do you realize how important that is to team points, okay? Then we go to Oklahoma State, who had 131 team points. 13 out of their 39 matches they had bonus, which is a third of their matches. 13 out of 39 victories, okay, which is a third of their matches. 20 and a half bonus points. 20 and a half. And they were second in this category. And they were second place in the tournament, okay? Nebraska, Cornhuskers, 13 out of 34 matches, which is a little over a third. In almost half of their matches, they had bonus points. They had 16 and a half bonus points. They got third in the tournament, okay? The Iowa Hawkeyes, who were fourth in the tournament with 92 and a half, had a third of their wins. 36 and 16 overall, which makes 12 of 36 matches bonus points, 9 major decisions, 2 tech falls, 1 fall, 14 bonus points. 4th place. And they are 4th out of the 4 teams that got a trophy in bonus points. Nebraska is 3rd, and they are 3rd in the team race. You understand. You understand what I'm getting at here. How important bonus points are. How important bonus points are. And to go further, Penn State wrestles free. They are confident in their abilities. They are confident, and you can see it in their matches. They go out and they frickin' wrestle. And a lot of times when they meet up with the top talent who's trying to beat them in their weight class, the other guy's running around. Sometimes they're not taking shots. And I don't agree that pushing people around is action. You have to take a shot. You have to set something up. I can understand that someone is backing up so much that you can't set anything up, but at least shoot them out of bounds. At least shoot them out of bounds. You will get your stalling calls if you're shooting. You shoot to get a stall. Don't shoot to get a takedown. If they're running a race, shoot to get a stall. And then defend, head and hands. Head and hands. I know you can do it, Penn State. I'll watch you do it. Shoot them out of bounds. It is possible that they may reattack. It is possible. I understand. Go create some action. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and say this. Kale. Speaking on other teams cheating. Okay? You just got the team points record at 181 and a half points with 8 All-Americans. 27 of 31 of your matches, you got bonus points. I question why it is that Kale has anything to say on that. And if he's referring to tampering, I don't. Things happen, and things are happening to programs that are way smaller than Penn State. That's where the cheating's actually going on, in my humble opinion. They're going after, like, let's say, a Lehigh guy, like Ryan Crookham. I'm not saying that this was the case, but it could possibly be that people are reaching out to him, being like, "Hey, you got hurt 2 years in a row. I can help you not get so hurt all the time." And like all the teams are talking to him. If this is cheating, this is happening. This is happening. It's been happening. It makes me question why Kale even has something to say after getting a team points record. He got a team point. Stick to Penn State. You're doing a great job there. Yes, Oklahoma State is nipping at you. They're not necessarily on your heels. With this recruiting class coming in next year and the transfers that they could potentially get, I could see where Kale is a little, I don't know. You've been dominating for 20 years. Dominating. It's about time someone comes after it. It's about time someone comes after the dominance. It's not fun to see Penn State win every single year. To me, as a fan, I want to see a team race. I've been to multiple nationals championships where there is a team race. What's more exciting? When there's a team race or not a team race? The answer is simple. It's way more fun when teams are involved, when teams are going for number one. It's an argument to see who gets number two. In low-key, we knew who was going to get number two. We just didn't want to bring it up. And they wrestled well. And Oklahoma State actually wrestled under their performance. They could have gotten an All-American from Ladarian Lockett. He underperformed. He's one of the better talents that Oklahoma State has. Yes, he's young. He had to go through learning lessons. And Ladarian Lockett will open up more, I imagine, next year based on this learning lesson he's had by not All-American, not becoming an All-American, did not place, right? So, yeah, Okie State's coming. But it doesn't. Penn State will still be dominant. There's nothing they have to worry about, in my opinion. That's why I am confused. As to why he even made that comment. And the thing is when like Willie and Bash didn't talk about this at all in their finals recap and tournament recap or whatever. They didn't talk about the Kale situation, what he had to say about teams cheating. That didn't happen. But guess what? FRL did. They said something about it. And you know what Christian Piles said? He said, I don't know why he would say that. And they're the ones that have access. More questions. More questions are needed. More answers. Why leave it so vague, Kale? I don't understand. Why does Kale leave it so vague? Why does it have to be such a vague topic when they've been dominating for years and years? I've watched it all of it. I've admired it all. Absolute dominance. And then how do you compete with that? Well, you have to create something like they're creating. And, I think Penn State runs off of faith a lot, which to each their own. I would say I'm religious. I'm spiritual. I believe in God. I believe there's a higher power. I believe we're all a little piece of the puzzle. Okay? I don't think I am God. I think I am a piece of God. Just like all of you. That's what I believe. And I think Josh Barr said it very, very well. Okay? In his finals interview. First question typically is always the first question from whoever's running the NCAA stuff. They always ask the first question, then open it up to everyone. But their question was, what was it that got you to this point? Last year, you lost to Stephen Buchanan, and this year, now you're on top. What is it that changed this year that got you to the top? Josh Barr says, and I am not saying exactly what he said most likely. This is not verbatim. This is close to what he said. Josh Barr said, "You're probably getting tired of hearing this. But once I surrendered my life to Jesus and God, everything came to fruition. And while I understand the premise, in my thought process, that is found searching within. In my belief, it's a struggle to find that when you're told what to think in that regard. And I don't know if that's what's happening to Josh Barr. I don't know if that's what's happening to Penn State wrestlers. But I would like more personality from Penn State. I would like more openness to the media about what it is that they're doing in order to get to where they are. Okay? And there's much more to the Penn State wrestlers than God and Jesus. And that's what I get from their personality. Okay? And they've done something there, which they've created a lifestyle there that has helped them get to the point that they are. Okay? And that's all I'll say about that. I get irritated when Aaron Brooks was the best at doing that. Every answer he had to every question involved God and Jesus. While I see the premise, I understand what's going on there. I do. There's more to life than wrestling. This is what Penn State has created, and they've created it through faith. Got no problem with that. What I do have a problem with, it seems like that's all of their personalities, and that's their answer to everything a lot of times. And yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Okay, Penn State, great job. Okie State seems to be open to the media. They have a man at the helm that is creating something where it's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood, and they're allowed to be themselves. They're allowed to see wrestling as something that is a game. There's not pressure on the Oklahoma State wrestlers. It's just to go do your best. You're confident in your abilities. Go and do it. And they do it. Okay? And Okie State is creating something where they have depth. And I think that's the biggest thing that Penn State has done. They have depth in that wrestling room. You can go to the third guy in a lot of weights, and they're most likely going to get on the podium if they choose to, right? So Okie State is creating something similar to Penn State, but I find it to be quite different. It seems to be more liberating. It seems to be more the athlete is becoming itself rather than becoming what it's told to be. Okay? And like with that, I think it's a much better environment in order for a wrestler to become itself, in order for a wrestler to search within and find within itself what it is that they are, rather than being told what they are. Okay? And that's what I see out of Okie State and what they're developing there. You know, the way to get to Penn State and their dominance is to have someone that understands how to run a program similar to Penn State, but in their own way. It's not Nebraska has, in my opinion, Nebraska can compete for national titles. Do I see that happening with Mark Manning at the helm? Not necessarily. I don't. I do see Mark Manning getting a bit older. And I do hear Jordan Burroughs speaking on things. And he's got a youth wrestling club, you know. Hiring Jordan Burroughs as a head coach will make that team, whoever does it, a competitor to the top. It won't be year one, but it will show itself, okay? Jordan Burroughs is the best wrestler arguably ever in the United States of America. He has a lot of knowledge on wrestling up here and the mentality that it takes to become you in order to become a great wrestler, a great man, okay? All of the things. Yes, lead with faith. Yes, lead with faith, and that is everything. Allow yourself to lead with faith and come across your findings by yourself. searching within, and reading books. Reading the book. Okay? It has a lot of great things. How it is perceived is what matters most. And only you can perceive it. The pastor ain't going to do it. I'll get off my soapbox about all of that now. But Nebraska has wrestled a hell of a tournament the last couple of years. For as long as they find diamonds in the rough, which is what they do. Jordan Burroughs was a diamond in the rough. I can imagine there were a lot of teams recruiting him. But Nebraska got him. And he is one of the best wrestlers ever. So as long as they could, Christopher Minto is another great example. I didn't know who Christopher Minto was until he wrestled 165 and got All-American status last year. And I was paying attention to him throughout the year last year too, and I thought he had a chance to be very good. Nothing like he is though. And up at 174, he's gonna be an absolute freaking hammer. Okay. Freaking hammer time. But, I really believe it's about finding a way to make wrestling fun. Dan Gable, in his dominant years, wrestling was not fun. Wrestling was something that was looked at as, man, that's such a tough sport. And then, they probably ran all the Carver stairs that they could. They ran around all the parking garages that they can. And I'm saying this because I went to our wrestling camp and I had Chad Beatty, Brody Ambrose, Luke Lofthouse, and yeah, I think those were my 3 coaches. There was another one I can't remember, and I'm sorry. But back in those, it's just very tough. And I'm not saying don't run Carver stairs. Go run Carver stairs, but you don't need to run them to the point where you're fucking throwing up, feeling like shit, and then you get out on the mat, you're so fucking tired. No. Wrestling has evolved. And Dan Gable, I think, hurt the evolution of wrestling as far as the enjoyment of it. It was always, go work your ass off and you'll reap the rewards at the end. And a lot of their wrestlers did. How they made a team point score that I thought would never be touched. And it's been touched. It's been blown out of the water by the Penn State. Iowa had 167. And now, since the last 3 years, 181.5, that's only 14 points only. 14 points is a lot when it comes to team scoring in a tournament. But Penn State has found a way to make wrestling a game, to make wrestlers realize there's more to life than wrestling. And there is. Human beings, there's way more to wrestling. This is entertainment. This is a game. It is fun. Penn State has used it through faith. Oklahoma State seems to just be laid back. Have fun. That's most important. Trust in your abilities. And David does a great job at that. I can tell that just by observation. Nebraska, Mark Manning loves those kids. It doesn't seem he applies pressure as far as win, as if that's the only thing that matters, because it's not. It's about growing yourself into the man you are to be through whatever avenue you have. These kids, they have wrestling as an avenue to grow in their own life and learn the lessons, reap the rewards that they've earned. As far as Iowa goes, I believe the fan base applies a lot of pressure due to expectations that are take out the bit. The expectations are abnormal for the situation that wrestling is in at this point, where every team is wrestling against a dynasty in Penn State. And Ben Askren had mentioned in one of his videos, he's like, I think it's a communication problem with the Brands brothers. And I agree. we have to be able to communicate in a way where our words are working for us and not against us. If our words are applying pressure, like, we need to win, take out the need, put in get. We get to win. How about this? We get to wrestle to the best of our capabilities. Does that sound better than most important thing is to win? No. Most important thing is to go and give your best effort. And through that, what's going to happen? You're going to wrestle loose. You're going to wrestle loose. I'm just out here to wrestle. I'm just here to play a game. It's not life or death. If I win, awesome. If I lose, I get to learn. I get to learn. I failed. And I'll fail again. And maybe I'll never fail again. Maybe I'll just keep winning. Maybe. It's possible. But I believe Iowa applies too much pressure to its athletes. And you can tell when they're out on the mat wrestling for 1-to-1 sudden victories. Because they're too afraid to lose. If you wrestle with fear, boring matches will be near. Okay? It's the truth. Go out there and wrestle free. Be confident. Be comfortable. Okay? Be comfortable in your abilities to go win a match the way that you win a match. That's what's important. That you trust in your abilities. You stay in the positions that you are best in. You avoid the positions that your opponent is best in. Okay? We're out here to have fun. Yes, we're out here to win. Winning's a whole lot more fun than losing, but you lose. You learn a whole bunch from that. And I think it's evident from Iowa's dual season to their tournament season. They wrestled much better in the tournaments. I think they had a lot of pressure on them in the season. Take out the I think. Brands Bros apply pressure. Kale does not apply pressure. He uses his words wisely. He makes his wrestlers realize there's something more important than wrestling. He makes great human beings that are free and want to go score points, that want to go have fun. It's not all about winning. Winning will take care of itself. Winning will take care of itself if you're comfortable in your abilities and stay in your positions. That's the game of wrestling. You do those two things, you win matches. It's not about win, win, win all the time. It's the same thing with DT. It seems he just lets his... You look at David Taylor and Kale in their corners. They're sitting there. When something comes up, they'll have something to say. But they're not wavering. They're not going crazy. They're not going... You look at Mark Manning in the corner, that man is going fucking ape shit when things go wrong. Tom Brands, I watched them in the corner many, many of years. They're rocking in the corner like this. They're rocking in the corner like this. They're all fucking match. And sometimes they're shaking. They are not at ease. How do you think your athlete's going to wrestle when you're acting like that in the corner? You think they're going to be nervous? You think they're going to feel pressured? You think they're going to be calm? I don't think so. But what I observe out of many coaches in their corner is they're freaking out. They're breathing in their chest. They're not breathing into their belly. And that's what DT and Kale are doing. They're allowing the wrestlers to wrestle the way that they do. They don't get too high. They don't get too low. And that's the freaking key. And that's what I have to say about these teams chasing and getting to Penn State. I hope you have a wonderful day. Go Hawks. Hey, Iowa basketball is in the Elite Eight That's never happened in my lifetime, and I watched it happen last night. So congrats to the basketball team as well. I will be starting a new channel at Peyton Travels. If you have any interest, go and check it out. I'm gonna get some things together as far as like my travels and what I've done, and start posting about it and giving my story out. Okay? Peace, y'all. Love y'all. Take care and have yourself a great fucking day.